Hunter's gamble to throw an army at the oncoming Grey invaders using Captain Lexington had failed terribly. Every man who took part in the attack was now either dead or a prisoner of war. Captain Lexington had sadly died in the assault, so there was no negotiating for his safe return. Hunter mourned the loss of the up-and-coming officer and the men under him. But there was little time for mourning at that moment. The Grey Army was still steaming forward at full speed towards the tan defensive positions, and Tony was too far away with the Blue Army to provide aid. Hunter had to stop them in their tracks once and for all, so he called upon the light green rebels to help in their defense. They had been resting and recuperating for some time now and were fresh and ready for a new fight. Hunter donned a light green helmet as a symbol of unity with the light greens and decided he needed to be present on the field of battle for the troops' morale. If his line failed, then the rest of the Tan Nation could easily be rampaged through by the Greys. The Grey commander Jason also understood the importance of the upcoming battle and resolved to be partaking in the combat with his Grey troops. If he failed, then the Grey army would be in shambles. Hey guys, what's going on? Daily Tactics here, and I am back with the final episode in Season 1 of the Army Men Civil War series. Now, before this episode starts, I just want to say a big thank you to Mighty Mapper123 for, first of all, being the inspiration for this series in his Army Men of War series that he does himself. And then I also want to thank Tony, who was the original mod creator of this and did a wonderful job, and then he passed the torch to Imperial Dutch Mapping, who I also want to thank for continuing to develop this mod and doing a great job and basically taking any requests I ask. Thank you to all of you guys. You guys rock. Seriously, couldn't have made this series without you. And I also want to thank you guys, the fans, for supporting the series. And not only supporting it, but, you know, also just being awesome about it. Like, you guys always are suggesting new ways to improve the series, all sorts of great stuff, and without you guys, I wouldn't have likely continued to make this series for much longer. If people didn't watch it and get into it, then I would probably have just killed it off, but you guys are really what made this happen entirely. So, thank you to everyone. Regardless, let's get into it. This is a very important battle for both sides who are fighting. So we have the Greys over here who are invading and trying to break the Tan lines. The Greys have come with quite a number of T-34-85s here. You guys corrected me earlier. I used to think these were T-34-76s, but I was incorrect. They are T-34-85s. So they've got quite a number of those, as well as a lot of infantry as well. Pretty well spaced out as well, so they won't get all knocked out almost immediately. And then they've also got some of these M8 howitzers, which is their artillery for this battle, which is going to be peppering the Tan lines. They're going up against a mighty defense, however. The Tans have basically three lines of defense. The first one, which is a standard sort of trench line over here, with 5 Shermans and a large number of troopers, tan and light greens combined. And then back a little ways, there is the second line of defense, a little bit smaller, fewer tanks. There's about 1 or 2 tanks back here. Here's a Sherman and here's a Stuart. And then peppered within this village, there's more troopers as well in a bit more of a guerrilla warfare type of defensive position. Then back here, we have the final defense, which has 1 Sherman left over. And then it also has Hunter, who's chilling down here in his green helmet, which is symbolic of the unity between the greens and the tans. Yeah, this is the final defense area. All or nothing stand if it comes to this. Alright guys, I'll be right back and we can get this video started. Alright guys, sorry about that. I made a few changes to the battle because I ran it real quick just to make sure it was good, and there was a weird glitch, so I had to take away a vehicle. Either way, the battle is underway now, and the T-34-85s are explosively entering into it, really just using that sheer power as a surprise tactic against the Tans and light greens here, and they are managing to nail quite a few of the Shermans that are holding the first line of defense here. Not a lot of T-34-85s going down. A few, as we can see, there's 2 or 3 over here already down, but these Shermans got really wrecked, and those explosions actually wreaked havoc on the trench line as well. We can see squads of men getting caught in the explosions and going down. A T-34-85 over here pushing extremely far in. It gets tracked, but it's still managing to fire at this tank back here, though I do assume it's going to go down very soon, and it did. The crew's bailing out, but they get shot down before they can really do any damage to any of the infantry around them. Looks like the Tans and Light Greens are suffering heavy losses in their trenches, but now they are in a bit better of a defensive position without that explosive start to hinder them, and they're managing to actually get some fire down on the oncoming gray military that's approaching them. Looks like a lot of the Greys have gone down in the early starts of the battle here. We can see piles of bodies everywhere, but they still have a lot of numbers here that they're going to be able to attack with, and this first line of defense for the Tans is slowly going down. It looks like on the right side over here, the defense is going slightly better, although their tanks are down now. But they did manage to kill both T-34-85s that were attacking over here. The infantry seems to be the problem now, but pretty much everywhere except for these two right trenches over here have fallen to the enemy. And I suppose we should enact the retreat rule, as always, and get these men back. Okay, there's 3 men on the left, and retreating them is going to be tough, but we'll give it a shot. Let's see, can this man make it? Let's go. No, buddy! Oh, he fell. Dang. Alright. Either way, now the second line of defense for the Tans and Light Greens is starting to fire at the enemy here. They are getting fully involved now. And I think this will be a better defensive position for the Tans and Light Greens, as they don't have to deal with the sheer power of the Gray Army that came at them from the initial start there. Now they have to deal with still a lot of power from the Greys, but it's not that surprise sort of just explosive start. So the Gray infantry is pushing forward here and beginning their second wind of assault here. And it looks like the Tans have won the tank battle here, managing to take out pretty much all of the T-34-85s, I do believe, unless some are tracked, in which case we can enact our tank repair rule, and it looks like a few are, so we're going to repair these 2 tanks here and this third one. So the Greys are still in this tank game, as long as they can get these bad Larrys operational before it becomes too late to offer any real advantage to having tank support in this battle. Alright, either way, the Greys are struggling to actually even get to the first line of trenches where they can take cover. Lots of them dying before they're actually able to hop in and get that nice cover that they really want, which is tough. But now they're starting to make it a little bit more. Looks like the second line of defense, in terms of infantry, is starting to fail for the Tans and Greens. Not so much on the right, but on the left here, it seems like the Gray push is much stronger, and more Tans and Greens are starting to go down. Light Greens, that is, the rebels. This is a very important battle. I want to stress that for both nations. If the Greys lose, then they will lose pretty much a massive portion of their army, basically the majority of them, and they won't be able to attack, and their defensive capabilities also will be extremely lowered if they lose this battle, because they'll just lose so many men, and it will seriously weaken their war effort. But on the flip side, if they manage to win this battle here, then the Tan lines will be completely open to invasion, and the Tan military will be pretty much powerless to stop them, because Tony will be on the far left flank and he won't be able to swing around fast enough. Not to mention the purples can keep him occupied while the Greys just steamroll in further into the into the Tan lines. So really a big battle for both sides here, and it's going nice and steady. The Greys still have a lot of troops, and they are pushing forward feverishly here, but the Tans and Light Greens are holding very strong. Looks like this T-34-85 managed to peg a Sherman inside this depot, but there's still a lot of infantry inside the depot, though the second line of trenches has been overtaken, and now Gray infantry begins to try and get inside that and use it as cover. There's a few troopers in here, but for the most part, they're completely wiped out. This gray soldier looking for targets, but not managing to find any because this is an empty trench. Oh no, I lied. There's two lads here doing a bit of a final stand for them. Yeah, gray soldiers still pushing forward. Here's the T-34-85. Actually, this bad Larry is wreaking some havoc on the Tans and their tanks. Let's see, how many kills has it got? 1 tank kill, 15 infantry kills. That is not too shabby at all, though it is diving very, very deep in with very little infantry cover and no other tank support, and it's going to start getting fired at by enemy tanks. We got a Sherman over here, a Stuart over here. I doubt the Stuart's going to be able to pin this bad boy, but the Sherman certainly will be able to if it gets a nice shot off. This thing is looking for targets. It finds one, it fires, doesn't manage to do enough damage to this tank to take it out. Looks like it glanced off the top turret there. The Sherman responded with its own fire. Hasn't taken this thing out yet either. I think the distance is a little great. Oh, it actually just got taken out. Dang, okay. Looks like there's one last T-34-85 here. I don't know why it's not getting repaired. Repair. Alright, I don't know why we can't repair it. I think it... Oh, the hull is just damaged beyond repair, but the main gun still works. Another rule that we've had in the past is that we're allowed to move artillery forward in the midst of battle if we like. So we'll move this bad boy forward so it's actually in range. We had to put another crew member on that. And now we can see if we need to retreat any Tan troopers. I think currently they're in an okay standing. This guy over here might have to just stay. There's one guy hiding beneath the bodies. There he is right there. He might just have to stay because if we pick him up, he's going to immediately go down. Yeah, because I mean there's just grays stationed all over here. The second he gets up to run, he will get gunned down, so he's safer actually staying there, maybe going unnoticed, or even if he does get noticed, maybe he can lay down some fire onto these grays and take a few of them with him. But it does seem like the gray advance is starting to slow down, especially with the loss of this T-34-85. Their tanks have become much, much more powerful in this war, but not quite powerful enough to deal with the output of the Tan army, it seems. Though the Tans are probably going to want to consider upgrading their tanks, getting some new technology onto the field, or else they might start getting outgunned completely by both the Greys here, who have developed IS-2s and whatnot. Here's that howitzer getting into line. With the IS-2s, which are very powerful and can take out their super Pershings. Neither of those super tanks, though, are on the field today. Or even the Reds, who have developed Tiger tanks of their own, which have really started to contest the Tan tank superiority. So they're going to need to come up with some new stuff if they want to continue to really just reign supreme in that field. Either way, this Sherman is just doing a heck of a job standing true and not getting killed. I mean, look, it's been hit at least 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6. Yeah, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shots have hit it at least, and it still has not gone down. That's some Tan engineering, and as I say that, it bursts into flames as a bazooka shot manages to find its mark and take that thing out. So there is still hope for the Greys. I think they might still outnumber the Tans and Greens in terms of infantry, though the Tans and Greens still have 1 Sherman, 1 Stuart, and... oh, another Sherman over here. Yeah, this bad boy's still alive too, so 3 tanks versus no tanks, though the Greys do have bazooka troopers, so there's always the off chance that they manage to take these tanks out with their bazooka troopers. Looks like Greys trying to proceed forward a little bit, but getting halted by machine gun fire from the enemy. We've still got guerrilla resistance within the town here, quite a bit of it. However, the trenches here have all but fallen. This one on the far right is still alive, and then this hill defense over here is actually doing quite well for the Tans as well. This is a great position, guarding the right flank. It's actually kind of similar to the American Civil War in Army Men Civil War. This is like Chamberlain's defense of Little Round Top in the Battle of Gettysburg on day 2. I don't know. I guess that's just sort of what I'm thinking. The men of the Main held strong against the dirty rebels, but these Tans are holding strong against the dirty Greys. Yeah, I think the Greys' attack has fully fallen off now. They've started to lose more and more men. As we can see from the minimap, the blues are the Greys, and the reds are the Tans, and the Tans seem to outnumber the Greys considerably now. Why don't, just to make it interesting, and because the AI isn't really doing anything, we'll move the Greys and really just sort of center their efforts into one area, and we'll have them do one last assault on the far right, I think, because that's where they've weakened it the most. This tank is still alive, unrepairable, so the Tans are going to need to take that out before they leave this battle. But the Greys are going to do one last Hail Mary here, and it seems like they're already starting to crawl forward a little bit on their own, trying to do this. There's a little exchange of gunfire between the Greens and the Greys, and Tans too. Yep, a few shots getting shot out here. Oh, our little friend died over here. He just got taken out. Dang. All right. Excuse me. Looks like this lad is fixing up his machine gun here. Moves forward slightly. Starts firing to the left over here. Way down the line at these bad boys over here. Very nice. Alright, and the Greys are starting their attack here. Looks like Tan tanks taking pot shots at them with high explosive shells. I don't know what, but the new update made this mod glitchy where, like, things just kind of float in the air. I don't know, is anyone else experiencing that with their game? It's really annoying me. Looks like a small assault on this factory over here has begun, though this factory is pretty well guarded by Greens and Tans. It's going to be a tough nut to crack. And I don't know if the Greys have the men to do it. Maybe a few well-placed grenades could settle the matter, but the Greys are starting to go down faster over here. Let's see. Where else are the lads? They've kind of halted their advance again, even with my little push with them. Let's see if they can at least take the workshop over here. We're going to reposition the men that way, and see if they can do it. There really just wasn't enough of them to win this victory. I mean, look at all the Tans and Greys that were left Tans and Greens that were left compared to the Greys. Either way, this small assault on the workshop here, a last-ditch effort by the Greys to possibly get a good flank here, is underway. A few Greens and Tans going down. In fact, this entire building getting crushed, I presume, by a rocket shot, something like that, maybe even a grenade. Didn't quite notice it when it happened. But the Greys are actually possibly going to manage to do this. They've wiped out these troops over here, and now there's only 2 Greens holding this way. They're peppering that door, trying to make sure the Greys stay out. And the Greys, again, are silent. Alright, let's fast forward here, see what they do. Okay. They're doing nothing. Of course. This dude's crawling up to his men over here. Alright, they're not gonna do anything. We gotta move them forward. I think this is completely justified moving of characters, because, I mean, they're not doing anything. Alright, here we go. Action starting again. Greys under a little bit of fire. A few of them going down. These guys finding their targets, getting one of them. One last guy remains. He's taking cover behind these barrels. He pops up, big mistake, and goes down. Alright. There's like... how many grays? There's 5 gray infantry left. Well, why don't we retreat them back to this line over here, and then we can have the tans, just for fun, come and assault the last remaining gray tank and gray infantry that's down here. That could be kind of fun. These guys are actually getting fired at by the tans and greens right now as they try and run. So the tans and greens don't want them to get away. So they're sending their defenses forward to take these guys on. Hunter's going to get in on the action, of course. Boom. Huge shot getting fired right there. From this T-34-85, the Greys are now making up a makeshift defense. They've got about 5 infantry, 1 artillery piece that is half crewed, but still firing, and 1 little tank here. Tank's under some fire, but it's also returning fire. Shermans, one of them actually getting knocked out, I believe. I think that thing's dead. Stewart over here is not very powerful, so it might go down fairly soon. Shouldn't there be another Sherman? Where's the other Sherman? Oh, it's over here. It's doing a nice little flankaroonie. Coming around that way. But we can also have Chamberlain's men charge, just like they did in the Battle of Gettysburg. They charged downhill, which was considered very strange tactics at the time, but they broke their defensive position and actually made the rebels rout. Looks like the T-34-85 did end up going down. The infantry down here is in last stand position. That was the last guy, I think, actually. Yep. Well, a big defeat for the Greys and a huge victory for the Tans and the light greens who were helping them. At some point in here, the leader, Jason, died. So the Greys are now without a leader. He died somewhere during the assault. He was on the main road over here, so maybe we can spot him? Perhaps? It's going to be tough, because the only thing that really distincts him is his greenish Russian helmet. And I just ain't seeing it. Yeah. Je ne sais pas. There's Hunter. Hunter managed to live. Good for him. Quite the defense for my man Hunter. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed Season 1. I'm going to have some great things for you come Season 2. Comment and subscribe if you enjoyed. Check out my Instagram, Discord, Patreon, Twitter. All those fun things are in the description below. And once again, thank you guys so much for supporting this series. And I'll see y'all later. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.